How many?
Okay.
44 is what it announced a minute
Thank
ago.
you.
I want it on the,
You want to turn off your phones, please, before we start? Okay, did everybody turn off their phones? Want to sit in the back? You want to sit down, please? Thank you. Let's get settled down. Okay, I guess we're settled down. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, I think now we're settled down. Okay. You know, we're gonna hear a lot of reports today, and they all sound like they're important, and they are important. But the most important report you're gonna hear today is the report on, is the report on 2028, because that's the future of Century Village. In fact, I'm thinking about holding a meeting in the summer to keep the residents apprised of what's going on. Because I did it once before, a few years ago. I think it maybe might hold 2 meetings in the summer, because it's very, very important that we all know what's going on, because that's the future of Century Village, and it changes day to day. Sid will make a very important report later on. Okay, Alan, can we get the minutes?
As usual, the minutes of the March meeting were published in the April edition of the Cobrua Reporter. Has anyone found any omissions, corrections, or additions to those printed minutes? Are there any objections to accepting the minutes as printed in the Cobrua Reporter? Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report? Yes. Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning. A month ending in the checking account balance, excuse me, is $23,436. Our CD is $37,549 for a total of $60,985. Last month's balance was $46,549. The $8,000 increase was from the associations for the payment of the 2 attorney bills for the 2028 acquisition. Any questions? I don't hear you.
The money that you added, part of the $1.75?
It was the original invoice that they got for the first 2 bills from the attorney.
And that goes to,
I can't hear you.
Gail, come here.
Gail, take the mic. Well, if you don't take the mic, we're not gonna listen to you if you don't take the mic,
I
Gail.
can't get up.
You can't get up? Take the mic.
Okay,
She can't get up, take the mic. Dave, she can't
This
get
is a
up.
wired mic.
We can't hear what she has to say.
But this is a wired mic. I don't have it.
Take one of these.
David, you can use my mic. It's, you know, there's no rental charge this month.
Yes, there is.
No, we make $2.
She's never going to get up and use the mic. It's brought to her from here on.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay, my question was, that money was from where exactly?
The additional 8,000 was from the invoices that were sent to the associations for the first 2 bills from the attorney.
So you have the money, but you haven't paid me?
The money came in and went out.
So you don't have it anymore?
No.
Okay, that's what I was questioning.
No, it went in, came in,
That
and
your
went out.
money, that money you did in there.
Yes.
Can I say something aside from nothing right now? There was another accident on Cobrua in 441 this morning.
We don't cover 441, so it doesn't matter.
I'm just.
I don't care if there was an accident on 441. It didn't involve anybody here. We're not going to entertain it. I'm sorry. You know, if you want to talk to the people there, to tell them there's an accident on 441, that's fine, but it has nothing to do with the
I
meeting.
thought I was being.
Okay. No, they'll read it in the paper tomorrow. Thank you. Okay. Right now, security report. Annalise Silva will be here. Now, don't forget, security report. If it's something that happened to you personally or association, after the meeting, see Annalise.
Good morning, everyone. For the month of March, we patrolled 5,340 miles. We had 3,236 pre-authorization calls at the gates. We had 3,720 contractors coming through the gate. We had 4,584 food deliveries logged at the gates, and a total of 6 car accidents in the community. We ask for everyone to slow down. Tell your guests to slow down, be patient at the gate as well, and so we can prevent those auto accidents. Okay?
Okay. But yeah, we got to hear you. I'm sorry. We usually go to the mic in the back so that everyone can hear you. Thank you.
Regarding to the report that was just given,
Yes.
I want to make everyone aware, if you go out the north gate and you're going towards,
Okay. Go ahead.
if you're going west, there has been be very careful when you turn. There's been 2 accidents in that one spot, and they crashed into our wall that says, you know, adult community. So be very careful when you make that right turn going out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pincus?
Hi, good morning, Annalise. Those are wonderful statistics, and we're really proud of all the hard work you're doing. But it would be very remiss on me not to bring up the fact that your drivers of your gray security cars have to maybe have some type of limit put on into their engine so they can't go speeding up and down our roads at 40, 50 miles an hour because they're in a rush to get through their routine. I was waiting for a ride this morning to come here, and I witnessed a driver coming in, circling around the back of our pool and getting out, and I'd say he was going at least twice as fast as he should have been going, maybe even faster. So if you could somehow get a message to your employees that 20 miles an hour is what we're supposed to drive, but they're supposed to be setting the example.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Annalise? Thank you, Annalise. Appreciate it. Annalise, they call them governors, right? They used to call them governors on the cars that go so many miles. They don't have to speed to emergencies. That's not their job. Okay. All right, Stanley, committee affairs and F&O.
I'm just going to repeat what I've been saying the last couple of months. With all the construction that's going to be going up, don't forget on Glades near the Turnpike, you have where the golf course was, there's going to be GL homes going up. Next to the high school, they're already cleaning up the area. There's going to be a community going up west of 441 and Clintmore. What this is doing is going to create additional traffic in the area. And my suggestion is, and the West Boca Council, which I'm a member of, we're trying to get a exit and entrance on Palmetto Park Road for the turnpike. what we're asking the citizens to contact our representatives and ask them to push for this entrance and exit, which it's not going to solve the problem, but it'll alleviate a lot of the traffic coming into our area. Most of the traffic is coming from Broward and Parkland, so in the Cobrua paper on page 1, there's a listing of all the telephone numbers of the people that we should be contacting and urging them to go forward with the Turnpike entrance and exit on Palmetto. Any questions?
Scanner, want to go down now?
We met with the management people on March 16th, present with Judy Milken, excuse me, Monica Wells, Abby Koffler, and Dan Cruz. 6 of our members were present, 1 was not. One of the areas we discussed is replacing the hedges that have the white fly problem on Lyons Road. We're talking about possibly new hedges or even a wall, so this is going to be up for discussion and hopefully part of next year's budget. We're talking about setting up a bus depot. Right now, it used to be next to the tennis courts near the clubhouse. Right now they're on the south end of the parking lot, and we're trying to figure out which is the best place to put these buses. We were talking about the possibility of putting a glass railing, if that's the proper terminology, on the lower balcony. After examining it for a number of times, the railing is not an obstruction, so we will probably hold off on that. We're working on setting up on New England and on Century Village Boulevard at a couple of areas, blinking warning lights that there's a crossing coming up. We'll see how this works out, and then if it helps us from a positive standpoint, we will add some more on, but we will have blinking warning lights telling people that telling drivers really that there's a crosswalk coming up. Another issue that is a little difficult to resolve is, of course, what to do with bicycles. We're thinking of using part of the bus lanes to accommodate the bicycles and get them off the walk path. So this is going to be a study, and hopefully we can resolve it for the next budget year. Next year there's going to be building inspections going on in the village. I'm not talking about the association, I'm talking about the Sen West and Warwick buildings. The question had come up about changing start times for the shows. And from past experience, the best way is to leave it alone. Because when we changed to Sunday or possible talk about midweek, it did not work out. So that was shelved, and we're going to continue working on shows for Saturday night, which already have been booked for the season. We are starting to get maintenance reports on the buses to make sure that they're maintained properly and there's no problems with them. Even though some of the buses are brand new, but you still have to have an inspection. I remember when I was in the Army, I had to check my Jeep every single day. Security is still in the process of hiring a new chief. They're doing interviews, but we will find out what's going on in the next month or so. Hopefully we can fill that position. Collections for the month of February totaled almost $50,000, which most of it goes back into our treasury. The walkways the walkway in front of the clubhouse is scheduled to be repainted and repaired. And basically, that's about it for right now. Any questions regarding the report?
Stan,
Yes.
you want to mention shorts in the clubhouse for the shows?
Okay, I think that they put that on Channel 63. What we're doing as an experiment is for the months, starting for the summer season, April through October, shorts will be allowed in the clubhouse for show nights and in the party room on dances. And we'll see how that works out. But that's an experiment.
Okay, you want to go into cable?
Okay.
Anything for cable?
First, let me thank all the people on the cable committee who have been working hard. We don't always think the same way, but we're trying to work something out. The one culprit is laughing already. There are two culprits. I shouldn't say that, really. It's just different ideas. I'd like to thank Sid Schwartz, Ted Spar, Dave. Where is he, Dave? Okay, Dave. Lynn, Mitch, Schaefer, for being on the committee, going through all the proposals, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks we can come up with a solution and a recommendation as to which way we want to go. Not exactly on the cable committee, but on the Xfinity, what we're doing is we're having there were 4 claims, let's put it that way, regarding the channels on the high-rise buildings. The Liberty Mutual is the one who's having the claim. They're an insurance company for Comcast. They recently had an appraiser or somebody come in to review it. He's recommending that an engineer come in and check all the channels, and what's going to end up, it'll be one large claim which Liberty Mutual will take care of, and hopefully we can resolve the problem of what's been going on for years. So keep our fingers crossed. Any questions?
No, not now. On the good and welfare for the
It's on his report.
No, it's for the delegates.
I am a delegate.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
just
You are
sitting over
delegate.
there.
Okay, did you sign it?
Yes, I
Okay.
signed it.
How many proposals came in
4
for the cable contract?
4 proposals.
Is there anything that's been up that you could tell us on an update on anything new regarding those proposals?
Right now, we're reviewing everything. The committee is studying it. We had some questions which we brought up, and within the next week or 2, we'd like to resolve it and come up with our recommendation.
Milt, if you delegate, you have to sit up here. They don't have to, but I would prefer that. Can you hear her back there? All right, okay. That it? All right, now, do you want to? Oh, yeah. We'll bring the mic to you. If you can't, we'll bring the mic to you. Dave, no, Dave, bring the mic to her, please. Here, take this one. We don't mind doing it, everybody should be heard.
Are they going to send an engineer before you have to sign a contract or not, if you choose another vendor?
The engineer will be here within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. You finished now? Is it, okay, any more questions for Stan? Okay. You have another question?
Here, right there.
Hello, I thought we already had one engineering report.
Can't
What
hear you.
happened to that one?
Talk into the mic straight.
I thought we had one engineering report already. What happened with that one?
I don't recall any engineer report on the channels on the buildings for Comcast. We didn't have any. This is an engineers coming in as a result of some claims that were brought to their attention.
On the four-story building.
Good. Any other questions for Stanley? Okay, now, we saved this one for, ladies, come on, one meeting. Okay, saved it for last. Told you about Sid 2028. Listen very carefully. Sid, here's the mic.
Thank you for the big build-up, Mike, but it's going to be a very short report. There's not much to add to Peter Sachs's presentation last Friday. The meeting and the PowerPoint can be viewed on the CenWest website, centuryvillage-bocaraton.com, all one word. And hard copies of the action plan are available at the Cobrua office. The committee has also prepared an extensive list of questions and answers that will be printed in the May Reporter. Some of the questions were asked at the meeting, and other new ones came directly to the committee. The delegates of the executive board approved the creation of the Cobrua subsidiary at their March meetings, and articles of incorporation for Century of Boca Raton Acquisition Group, Inc. have been filed by council. The only purpose of this new subsidiary is the acquisition of the clubhouse and rec facilities in accordance with the terms set out in our governing documents. Cobrua is designated the sole member of the corporation. The 2028 committee will be meeting with council on April 19th to draw up proposed bylaws for the subsidiary. The bylaws will set the ground rules for elections, qualifications, meetings, reports, amendments, etc. We hope to have the proposed bylaws for the May meetings of the Cobrua Executive Board and delegates. The April 19th meeting with council will also address a Height Association proposal for a memorandum of agreement. Our treasurer, Lynn Roberts, informs me that 15 of the 16 associations have paid the invoice for the initial startup expenses for the project, and the 16th association has assured her the check is in the mail. I have no count on how many association boards have approved the ongoing $175 per unit per month to reach the projected estimate of $800,000 to fund Cobrua expenses until the buyout. Bills will go out May 1st for the months May, June, and July, and the response to that billing will be a true indication of the current association participation. We have been asked for a list of the runout amounts by association, and we will be getting that from the CenWest Chief Financial Officer. Finally, a subject I don't like to raise, but it has come to my attention that a few residents, behaving like bullies, have been making threatening remarks to staff about their jobs being in jeopardy after the buyout. The remarks run something like, when we take over and we're in charge, you can't tell us what to do. We can do whatever we want. I want to assure all staff of CenWest and our vendors These are a very few foolish individuals, and they do not speak for the committee or the community. To the staff, I say you are valued and your talents and services are very much appreciated. For many years, Senwest, M&O, and Cobrua have worked cooperatively for the benefit of the village, and that will not change. We respect our partners and the relationships we have developed with them. That respect and cooperation has been to the benefit of all, unit owners, staff, and the developer. We have a beautiful, well-managed community, and Senwest will absolutely be invited to bid on a management company when the unit owner buyout is underway. Thank you, and be sure to read the question and answers in the next Cobrua Reporter. Questions?
Sid?
Ted Spall, then Bill, then Ted Spall.
Yeah, Sid, and Mike, I think this is very helpful. I think the meeting in the theater was very good. But we had at Ainsley a president's meeting one time, smaller group. The president was able to address the group and explain things, and went over very well and answered a lot of questions. I'm not sure every president is knowledgeable enough to do this, but I think the committee could somehow visit the associations at their monthly meeting and go over this. It would be able to answer questions for people who can't get up in front of 400 people and ask a question, they don't get a chance
We would
to.
definitely be open to doing that. Again, if there's a president who would like me or one of the other committee members, we would, make ourselves available. We could also have, except this, again, it runs into money. Our attorney has offered to be as available as we invite him. It's just, again, it's money. So if any of the presidents do want some help in discussing this with their boards, get in touch with me and then we'll see what we can work out. But we do want everyone to be informed and we'll work with you.
Thank you.
Sid, thank you so much for your wonderful report. Question is, if perchance there is an association that decides that they do not want to contribute that $1.75 per unit, what effect does that have? And if you could explain it to the rest of the people in the room.
Actually, we haven't discussed that yet with council. So I really can't give you, the legal ramifications of it. But as I see it, and this is just me personally, if one association doesn't join and the other associations go forward, that one non-joining association will be subject to having to pay to use the clubhouse, to use the facilities, and because they will have no ownership interest in it. And I hate to say it because it sounds so almost threatening, but if 15 associations have paid to own it, certainly I can't, and again, this is not a legal opinion and don't take it as such, I can't see how one association can get all these privileges, including the buses, the clubs, and everything else. There would have to be some sort of payment made. And again, I'll direct the question to our attorney. In fact, you'll be at the meeting because Milt is the newest member of the committee.
Thanks for the answer on my question. Another question that someone asked of me. We know that, and this is for everybody else in the room, we know that once we do purchase, we make that purchase in a few years from now, there's going to be an advantage to us. Can you explain to everyone in this room what the monetary advantage would be? Because that's what someone has asked me. And if you could break it down, you know, there's a big amount there. If you could explain what that is about.
The big advantage will be in not paying the profit that goes every year directly to the levies, and that runs 4.75, I think 4.75 million. That will be money that, if you want to keep spending it, we can put into more beautification or whatever of our facilities, because it will be our facilities and we'll be the ones to decide what we want to do with it. And the example I always use is, many of us have for many years been asking about a restaurant, or a coffee shop, I should say. And perhaps that is feasible. We've never done a feasible study on it, you know, whether it would be profitable or if we would have to subsidize it. But it's just one of many ideas that we've never really taken a look at because we weren't permitted to. So money could go to other things. The other financial advantage is once the runouts, and I guess I have to explain the runouts. Is that what you were alluding to, Milt?
You could explain it. Yes, you can explain that.
Yeah. The community was built over a period of years, and everyone signed a document when they bought that they were committed to pay a lease fee to the levies for 50 years. The 50 years for Brighton and Cornwall ended, and I don't have it in front of me. This is the list that I've asked Send West for, and I assume that I will be getting it, and it will be available to all the presidents. For some associations, the 50 years started in 1979. For others, the 50 years didn't start until 1981. There's like a 5-year span there. So the associations on the south side, which are the newer ones, the older ones, yeah. They're the older ones. Their 50-year obligation will end prior to associations on the north side, which are the newer ones. So the second component of the buyout price was 8.4 or 8.5 million. That is made up of these run-out monies that will still be owing in January of 2029. In other words, all those 50-year commitments will not have been paid out, and that money will still be due. So some associations will owe 2, 3, or 4 months. Some will owe 12 months or 24 months, and a couple of associations will owe almost 5 years. So our purchase price basically will be the 4.7 plus this 8 point something for the runout. How that runout is going to be paid has to be decided in the future. It can't be decided now because it will depend upon what the banks will be willing to do. To a large part, it will depend on that. The financing is going to be done it will be done by a mortgage on the clubhouse, which we will own, and collateralization of the continuing coupons, the runout, that will be due for the next up to 5 years. So again, we know that that's going to be an issue here. There's no question of it, because some associations will only owe a few months. Others will owe 2, 3, or 4 years. Again, it's nothing that can be decided now, and I do believe that until we can start talking to banks about getting commitments on how we're going to finance the deal, other than giving you a list of the actual runouts, which we will provide, I don't think there's anything more we can say at this point in time. Does that answer your question?
Fine, that's it.
Sid, could I just interject one thing? On your coupon that you pay to Send West, you're paying roughly in the area of 260 some odd dollars, give or take a little. Of that amount, $60 is what Sid is referring to as what goes to the levies. The rest of it is the Borex and West portion.
Yeah. Thank you, Stanley. Anything else?
Thank you, Sid and Stan. It's really a lot of work, I know, and the committee, this is the future. There's a lot of questions to be answered. That's why we may possibly have, excuse me, 1 or 2 meetings in the summer, because we definitely need updates. Okay, no more questions? Old business?
No, whoa, time out.
What's that?
I hate to hog the mic, but we have the budget.
Oh, that's right, the budget. Okay.
All right, I'd also, before I interject with the budget, I'd like to just remind everyone that Comcast has its on-site reps here now, 2 days a week, Wednesday and Friday from 10 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In speaking to them, most of the problems that they've been faced with is regarding remotes. A lot of people say my remote is not working properly, etc. The biggest problem with the remote is check your batteries. If you're not able to change channels, there'll be a notice that goes up on your screen saying battery is low. Also, if when you hit the button and the light on top doesn't go on, check your batteries. But that has been a good deal of the problems that they've been faced with. All right, let me go on to the budget. Everyone, I think, should have a copy of the budget on their seats. Basically, I'm a little optimistic this year on revenues for the newspaper. This is an election year, and we usually get a lot of ads from the politicians. So I've come up with a figure that I feel is fairly safe. Even though it looks like there's a lot of ads in the paper, we're still running short dollar-wise. The expenses basically give or take a little up and down, but if you'll notice, the expenses are down roughly $4,000 or $5,000, and that is a result of getting a subsidy for the rent that we pay at the office across the street. We wanted to have an office in the building. It didn't work out, so Mike worked out a solution with Mark Levy, where for 3 years, we're getting a subsidy of $5,000 to reduce the rent expense, and that's shown on the budget. So right now, if we can do better on the advertisements, the deficit will go down, and hopefully that'll come true. But right now, this is the best I can prepare, and I will be working on final figures that I'll present to the accountants within the next couple of months. Are there any questions regarding the budget? Do I hear a motion to approve it?
We have
a motion.
Rexford, we have a motion from Rexford. Did you have a second? Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor. All right, thank you. Thank you, Stan.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay, anything other, new business, I guess. We covered everything is really old here. Do we have any new business? Do we have any good and welfare for the delegates? Okay, now we have to open up good and welfare to the community. Does anybody want to say anything on the good and welfare? I want to introduce one person. Okay, Fred. Go ahead, Fred.
Thank you, Michael. Fred Hadley, Cornwall E. I have several questions. First, about the bus and the bike lane. I'm a bicyclist, and I certainly agree the current setup is dangerous, where you have the bike and the pedestrians in that narrow lane. So I certainly agree that we need to do something. It seems to me that since the buses use the main roads part of the time, I'm thinking on Century Village Boulevard, the Dorset bus stop is on the main road. Why don't we just let the buses use the main road and turn the bus lane over to cyclists? That would be zero cost.
We're considering that, Fred.
Excuse me?
We're considering.
Yeah, okay, so I'm in favor of that. The next question I have is regarding the dress code for the clubhouse. Well, I certainly don't really care about the movie and the theater because you're in a dark room anyway and you're watching the stage. I don't care what you're wearing. But I go to the dances Saturday night, and I don't like the idea that you're going to allow people, well, men especially with hairy legs, on the dance floor wearing shorts. So I would say that that's a bad policy. Up in West Palm Beach, they don't allow shorts, they don't allow torn jeans, they don't allow t-shirts.
I don't care what they do.
Yeah, well, I know you don't care, but you're only one person, Michael, all right? This is democracy. All right, next subject. Sir, please don't interrupt me. I get my time. All right? Now, as far as this business about if an association doesn't pay their $1.75 that they'll be excluded, I assume that means that they wouldn't have to pay any recreational fee. Is that correct, Sid? That they would save that $260 per month per person?
What are you referring to?
You said that if the one association is a holdout and doesn't pony up the $1.75 and agree to that they would not be able to use the clubhouse going forward. So I assume that means they'd be relieved of the clubhouse fee. Is that true or false? No answer. Okay. Is there an answer, or you're not going to answer? Okay.
I'm truly not understanding your question. If they do not join,
Right.
they will have no rights to be in the clubhouse.
Right.
So they will be paying no fee.
Okay. So they would save that $260 a month. Is that correct?
Unless there's something else that I'm
All
not
right.
considering at this point, I'm not going to
All right,
go out on a
okay.
limb and make you a promise.
Right, okay. And the other thing is, I don't understand your math. If the oldest started in '79 and the newest,
I realized that there was a time.
you said a 5-year.
I knew you would pick it up, Fred.
Well, thank you
because
for
as I
recognizing
said,
my.
I don't have, as I said to you, I have requested the listing from.
Right, but just on your own figures.
When I have it, I'll have the exact dates. It was 79 to, it wasn't 81. I really, ladies and gentlemen, will you please bear with me until we get the actual list, and then we'll have.
Okay, thank you. I accept that. All right. Getting back to this memorandum of agreement that you're working on, and this goes to the issue of transparency. I happen to know that the association that's making the biggest fuss over this wants to know if they'll be allowed to attend the meetings of your committee. Is there a yes or no answer to that?
The committee is a committee of Cobrua, and the committee meetings are not open. The Cobrua committee meetings are not open.
Okay, so when you claim that you're going to have a transparency, right then and there, that's not transparent when you're closing a door on a meeting. Now, I know that this is the policy of Cobrua over the years. I spoke to Peter Sachs about this at the end of the meeting. He was the architect of the Cobrua agreement. I said, I'm all in favor of Cobrua as
I said,
excuse me, I'm not finished with my question.
Wait a minute. I do have to interrupt you because I covered this in my report. I said it will be discussed with our council at the April 19th meeting. So please give us till the April 19th meeting to bring your question. Indeed, the president of Hythe could have come and asked the question directly of Peter Sachs if she or her representative had attended the meeting with Peter Sachs. So after April 19th, we will have an answer to her question.
Okay, so the other thing I want to mention on lack of transparency is that I've been videotaping all the Cobrua meetings for probably close to a decade, including this one right now, live streaming it. I was told by Mike Limongelli that he would call the sheriff if I attempted to videotape the 2028 meeting. Again, this goes to a lack of transparency. There are people that aren't used to using the website, that don't have credentials, that I personally had trouble logging on because I forgot to put CVBR. I called the ID office up, I left a message, they never returned my call. I asked for assistance in getting credentials, never returned my call. So by doing that, excluding me, when I've been doing all of these meetings, and no one can say that, well, we want to keep it from Levy. Excuse me, let me finish my question. No one can say we can keep it from Levy because Levy's cameraman videotaped the 2028 meeting, and it's running on Levy's website. So why all the secrecy and lack of transparency? This is a terrible way to start your 2028
It was
committee.
actually on the website. How can you possibly say that we're not transparent when the day after the meeting, it was actually on the website?
Well, it was actually on the night of the meeting. I
think,
checked.
Fred, what you are saying is you are equating allowing you to video and transparency, and the two are not synonymous.
Well, they are in my book.
We have been very transparent, and I think that anyone would agree that there has been complete transparency.
So, can you give me a reason why you didn't want me to also videotape it? Well, it seems to me 2 videos is better than 1. Let's say the camera failed. Let's say something happened to the chip.
Thank you, Fred. We'll take your question under advisement.
All right, and I just want to tell everybody that her explanation to me is that the 2028 meeting was like a performance, and we don't allow videotaping a performance. Yes, you did tell me that, and I think that was a terrible answer and an obfuscation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, one last question. What happened to Steve Stein? You said we're looking for a replacement. What happened to him?
He's no longer the chair, he's no longer the head of security.
Was he fired or did he quit?
He's no longer head of security.
Thank you very kindly.
You're welcome. Okay.
Hello there. Alan Peter, owner in Cornwall and Suffolk.
Right.
And I noticed many years ago the discrepancy of the 2 coupons. One is built in 79 and one is built in 81 on the Sen West coupon. And from what I was under the impression, that was the catch-up of the 50 year. That the same size unit, same square footage, one built in 79, one built in 81. One has more funds required for the Sen West coupon, and one has less. So I was under the impression that that was the catch-up and that it wouldn't run to 5 years, as Sid was explaining. Why is there a discrepancy in the coupon?
Every one of your documents say 50 years from the declaration of the condominium. So again, I was using the term build when they were built or not built, but the declarations say 50, the documents you signed say 50 years from the declaration of condominium. So again, these are technical questions, and again, these are questions that before we even do an election as to whether or not we want to exercise the option, we are going to have all kinds of experts doing what is called, the legal term is due diligence for us. They will be examining all our documents. They'll be examining our boundaries. They'll be doing surveying. They'll be doing engineering. They'll be doing appraisals. We do not want to buy a pig in a poke, as the expression goes. We want to know what we're buying. We know what the purchase price is, but until we know exactly from experts, how about title? We can't just assume that the Levy organizations have title, clear title to all this property. All of this will be done in preparation before there is a vote on whether or not to exercise the option.
Right, just something you should be aware of. 2
Thank you.
identical units, 2 different prices, and Sen West coupon.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, anyone here go to bingo on Wednesday nights? Well, there's the woman here who runs bingo, who volunteers, who gets no credit. She does it with Elliot. Elliot's not here. Pauline, you want to stand up? Good. She runs bingo. She volunteered from the first night. Thank you very much. How many was there? 142? 142 last Wednesday. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn? Second. Thank you for coming.